agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you want a motion?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Motion to approve the agenda is written.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hillenbrand, seconded by Councilman Reitmeyer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes for the last meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Chen, seconded by Councilman Yocum. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Again, nothing appointments, Freelandville Sewer District. We've not heard anything on that.
Nope.
Your area, Rich.
I have not, no.
Nobody interested?
I have not.
Nobody wants it.
Okay. Judge.
Okay, so I am on the agenda to ask for a piece of the opioid settlement funds that were, my understanding is already awarded to Knox County. They can be used for certain things, and one of those is for treatment courts, and as I have stated in the past, I'm starting a veterans treatment court. What I have provided you with is a copy of what I gave to IOCS, the Indiana Office of Court Services, to apply for a grant for the Veterans Court Program to fund the coordinator position, a case manager, a grant coordinator, and then the stuff actually that would be needed for the court, drug testing supplies, that kind of stuff. I was awarded $110,165. I asked for $200,000. I have tried every reasonable combination of these numbers to see where they came up with 110. I don't know. I haven't got my official letter yet. All I have received is the email saying congratulations. My belief, based on my staff's experience with other grants, is I will get a letter that will tell me what I can use that grant for. I am assuming and hoping that it's going to be at least for the coordinator position. That would be for their salary. But if it is like other similar grants, it will tell me this is what you can use those funds for, and that's all I can use it for. So if it says you can use $50,000 to pay your coordinator and I need to pay that person $65,000, I need to make up the difference. In addition to that, this grant does not start until next year. It's a very odd process. I have to have my team meeting, meaning everyone who's invested in the Veterans Treatment Court. We are supposed to be meeting regularly, but there is no Veterans Treatment Court yet. And they won't certify me until I can show that I've had the team for the thing that doesn't exist meeting. And I also have to hire the coordinator. And so the reason why I'm asking for the opioid funds at this point is I cannot in good conscience sell a job to someone and ask them to come work for this position without knowing for sure that it's going to happen. And the only way I'm gonna get a good person is if I have a good position to sell them. So I would like to use the opioid funds to fund, and I meant before tonight to extrapolate what it would be for the remainder of the year just for that position. Because my intention is that it would be a $65,000 a year position plus the benefits of a county employee, and then it would be reimbursed through grants. But I didn't get that done. I didn't get the calculations done. But if you just take 65,000 and divide it by 12 and then add it back, I'm sure you guys can do that. But that's what I would be asking for in the funds. Obviously, it would be great to have the whole $200,000 budget that I'm asking for, but at this time, really the coordinator is the only thing that I really have to have before I can move forward, because I have to have that position filled, and that person is supposed to be an integral part of all these team meetings that I'm having, and I just can't do it yet. Questions?
How will you cover that salary next year or the following years?
Say that again, how do I?
How will you cover that coordinator's salary, that 65 and plus the insurance?
I will be applying for this IOCS grant every year.
And if you
and
don't
there are
get it?
Pardon me?
And if you don't get it,
Then I would be coming back and asking for additional funding.
because I'm sure this opioid isn't gonna stick around very long.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that we would be able to use the opioid
And I
funding
think part of it, aren't they
indefinitely.
covering Joe's salary with that?
Yes,
Thought so.
yeah, Drug court is funded, I think, all the way with grants at this
Yeah.
point in time. I mean, they have user fees that they use, but I think that goes back into the drug testing supplies,
Right.
the incentives that they use.
Okay.
There are federal grants. I didn't apply for them this year, frankly, because of the climate. I just didn't, it's a lot of work, and I was told by others that there are federal programs that already in the past had received funding that were not going to receive it. This is a fledgling program. It was a lot of work, so I wasn't gonna put that in. So I went for the one that I thought I had a good chance of getting. We did, I mean, I'm very pleased with the amount that they have awarded. It's just, it doesn't start until next year.
Drew, you've reviewed this process, we've
Yeah.
looked at it.
Yeah, out of the funds, 85% has to be what they call the restricted use under all the settlement obligations. Which my math is close to $1 million in total of the funds for that. This would qualify for the restricted use. The only thing we're drawing out of right now is for the same exact reason, directed for drug court. So I don't have any issue with its use. I don't have any issue with the use of the funds.
I think we just have to declare the tract, that document that you sent me, we have to say, is it gonna be for prevention, is it gonna be for treatment,
Correct.
and there was a third one, I can't remember.
Yep.
So we have to,
We
and I
have
would
to-
need to get with Joe to see what he has selected for his position to do that.
Yeah, and we do it through the auditor. We submit that each year when they ask for us on the funds.
A reminder that for the 3 years, some of that's going to land, like, I think $90,000 a month, or a year, I think. We set that up last year at budget time. So,
Their housing project.
but they still,
Oh, house.
I thought 90 was
I think
total.
it was.
90 was total.
90 was total.
Right,
Yeah.
Right, because
Yeah.
it was their match for their grant.
Okay.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
for 3 years that dollar
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
90 for 3 years?
I think so.
I thought 90 was total. I could be wrong. I don't.
Yeah.
But I know, but right now there's, 290,000 in there.
So there's plenty we need to. How much would you actually be asking for, Your Honor?
That 65 divided by 12 times,
65,000 divided by 12?
times the last.
Take off your shoes and count the whole
Yeah,
or what?
yeah,
Okay.
just to get through the end of the year is what I would be asking for,
So should we do it by 6 months instead of a year?
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, or do you want to, you know,
5 or 6 months.
yeah, but
rate be 65?
really, you need to take the 11,000.
65.
I don't know that it matters, whatever is easiest to calculate for your purposes. I just would wanna make sure that the person, the position would be funded
Total for a year. That's
through
what
the end of 2025, ready to be paid for by the grant, which I think it's one of those grants where the county pays it and then it gets paid back. So, but I may be confusing that, I'll come back to that in a minute with what I have found out about our recording equipment, which is good news.
Is this gonna be like a whole new position then, or is this?
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
this would
something,
be a totally
somebody
new
you've got there
position.
already.
Yes. And the thing is, they say that the judge can act as the coordinator, but not indefinitely. They have to, it has to be, like in these stages right now, they have to ultimately have a dedicated position for that. And really, the best case scenario would be for that person to be a probation officer. My understanding is that Judge Joe Hanningsmeyer basically said, you're gonna go and become a probation officer to Joe. That's how Joe got to be, because you need to do the reports and all of the background checks and everything. It's more than a background check, it's like a PSI that they have to do, so.
Will these be 3 new positions? Your coordinator, your case manager, and your grant coordinator?
They would be, the coordinator is have to have. The case
Yeah.
manager is, once we build up our caseload, my vision is to start, and I want this, we have great problem-solving courts. I intend to be very, very picky about who gets to be in Veterans Court. I see it as a big privilege to do that. I see it as, and not that drug court and family recovery court are not also a privilege, but I feel like this one can be a little bit pickier because it's very good, detailed and catered to a specific subset. With that said, I'm gonna start, I hope, with 10 and then add to that. So in my mind, a coordinator should have no problem carrying a caseload of 10 and running the program. once we get into the 25 and up range, if we're able to accommodate that many people, then I would want to add the case manager position to be a standalone position. The grant coordinator, really, I was just throwing that in because they recommend that you do that. I didn't really need 200,000 for the grant. I needed the case coordinator and the case manager position, as well as some of the other funds. But to make it an even, I put in the grant coordinator position. It's good to have one. Do we need it? No. I mean, I've never written a grant in my life and we got approved, so.
So at this point, you're just looking for the one position
Yes.
and working until it
Until we get it
manifests itself.
up and running. I mean, I really feel like it's going to be, very worthwhile, and we're going to have other things open up once we get it going, like other sources of funding. For example, Terre Haute, they don't get direct, here's $5,000, but they will have a gas station similar to like Kentwell's who wants to make a donation, and they will say, here's $1,000 in gift cards for gas. Well, then you can use that as an incentive. Say you've got a vet who can't get to and from court, can't get to and from appointments, but they've got a neighbor that's helping them. Well, the neighbor doesn't want help forever. And so instead, they will give the veteran who's participating in drug court, here's a gift card for gas that you can use to give to your neighbor to get you to and from your meetings. There's just a variety of random things like that that we will have available to us. And since we're kind of in this no man's land between Terre Haute and Evansville, east to west, we will be the only one. And my hope is that we will be able to serve other counties once we get everything up and running.
And speaking on the grant coordinator, we have several people within county that are used to working with grants. I know Denise Swink at CASA is very big on that, as
Yeah.
well as somebody in the prosecutor's office. So I think
Yeah,
there's those that could definitely lend a hand.
yeah, and we will definitely be calling them. This was one of those like, okay, what do we do, what do we do, what do we do? And they're like, well, you'll get there. Now you need to do this, and so it was kind of like, oh my gosh, we have to hurry up and get this application in so that we can try and get funding for next year. I did ask the gals that I'm dealing with in Indianapolis, my goal is to have this, up and running January 1. Is that realistic? And they said, yes, we really think it is. So that's what we're pushing for.
And do you have somebody in mind that like, hey, I'm gonna hire this guy tomorrow or is that?
Yes and no. I have someone who would be an ideal candidate, and I have reached out to them. With my position, I know of them a certain way, and I think they would be great, but I had to go the circuitous route to contact them. So I've basically sent the message, please call me, I'd like to talk to you about this, and I have not heard back. So I can get a little more aggressive, but I don't want to abuse how I have that person's contact information, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So instead, I've tried to go through who I know knows them, but if that person chose to do it, they would be an ideal fit for it.
It looks like we'd be discussing 38,000.
Okay.
For this particular situation here. Just consulting other councilmen down the road with benefits be coming to your new employees out of the grant.
That is what I don't know yet, because the letter, again, is gonna tell me what I can use it for. If the letter tells me, it's only for salary, not for benefits, then I will have to figure out how else to fund the benefits, because it is a full-time job. I don't think I can get the caliber of person I need without offering benefits.
Yeah, most definitely.
So,
Okay. So you're looking at the 38,000 for now. Would that be your request?
that would be my request, yes.
Okay.
38,000 will be the judge's request out of the grant she has just been awarded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
We really don't have a motion or a second on that, but,
Rich is yet.
yeah, I can make the motion, yeah.
Rich
so,
just did it.
Yeah,
Second.
there you go. And,
That's 3 seconds.
but I mean, I guess once the grant, the specificity of the grant comes back anyway, and that's fully covering, well, cover it, and so have the grants, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
definitely report back. I would've thought I would've gotten it. They sent me the email on July 1st saying, congratulations, your application has been approved as follows, and then it just says Veterans Court, 110,165. Award letters and an approved budget will be sent out soon,
Yeah.
so,
And they're working on the calendar year, cause I know a lot of grants, they,
yes, 2026 CY calendar year,
Okay.
so, yeah.
and Julie, we, as far as the opioid, we don't have that earmarked. We have enough that,
You wanna
okay.
revote again, or just let it go after, cause you had a couple?
Yeah,
questions.
no, I'm fine, yeah.
You good?
I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Dan, you good then? Okay, press again. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. 6-0.
Thank you. So in other news, I'm not on the agenda for this, but just by way of an update. When we, that being Judge Johnson and I, were here to talk about the court reporting equipment, we said we had looked into grant funding and we had been told that that was not an option. In the state of Indiana's infinite wisdom, they word things very similarly, but not the same. And so I had been inquiring about a court improvement grant, because in my mind, that's what we were doing. I was able to, through this, to discover that there is such a thing as a court reform grant, which does not, to me, bring to mind things like upgrading your recording equipment, but anyway, that's what it's for, and we would be eligible for that. So I am in contact with the dude who is going to be responsible for that. They cannot call and say it's time to apply because they cannot send out invitations. Apparently that's a big no-no for this type of grant, but he said when it's time, you will be notified. So
Send you
when
one
it's
of
time,
those.
huh?
You can send you one of these.
Yeah, I'm
Get on
hoping it will be obvious and not, the
Yeah.
minutia of court improvement versus court reform, but I have to apologize, when I said I'm looking for grants for recording equipment, is the court improvement grant available? And they said, no, that's not what that's for, there's no funding for that. You would think they would say, but you might try this other one, and they did not. So luckily, we have found this other source, and so I'm hopeful I will be reporting back later this year. I think those open in September.
And this is the
So-
same company, correct?
This is state funding.
State funding.
This would
but
be for the
you're
state to pay, yeah.
purchasing-
This
you're
is what I was
purchasing
saying,
from
yes.
the same
So,
company.
worst case scenario, my understanding, worst case scenario, based on the positivity of the gentleman I spoke to, if my court reporting equipment dies tomorrow, you would be on the bill for mine, because it's you pay and they reimburse, and it cannot have already been done at the time that the grant was awarded. So as long as mine can hold on until we get through the grant application process, even if you have to pay for all of them, we will get it back from the grant. So that's good news, because that was what, 200,
Yeah.
I think it was about
About
200,000 for all
$600,000
all four
total,
courts, so. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for looking into that.
Sure. Any other questions?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Roll three quarters. Either way, ridiculous.
Hey, Drew. The sheriff's not here on the commissary account.
This is a state board of accounts issue.
Oh, I know.
So just,
I've been there.
yeah, I mean, alls you have to do is review it. I mean,
Okay.
If you just,
Okay.
it was provided, whether he's here or not, doesn't matter. If you've
Okay.
reviewed it, just make note in the record.
Has everybody had a chance to review the sheriff's commissary report by chance? Dan? John?
Yes.
Do we need a motion for that, Drew? That it has been, Drew?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody care to make a motion?
I move we approve the commissary that we reviewed it for State Board of Accounts records.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Chatton, seconded by Councilman Hillenbrand. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Any further discussion on that? Passes 6-0.
Brink.
Good evening. We are looking at opening a new line item within the public safety lit budget at the request of the auditor's office. Right now, we're looking at paying for everything out of the EOC and the what we've done so far for the courthouse annex, if you will, out of that fund, but we need to have a subset from that. So at this point in time, we're looking at 150 coming from the lit into the lit, if you will, the subset for the EOC, and 50 for the other building. So it's actually not an additional appropriation, it's just opening a new line item for the payment of.
And this is lit money, correct?
Yes, public safety,
Not general fund.
correct.
Drawings and stuff on that original? I'm gonna use ARPA money for that original.
We did the first portion.
So this
Only
is,
up
this
to
is
100.
above, this is above and beyond.
Yeah, this is still a bill, it's just splitting the line items that it's coming out of.
So
It's
this
just
is,
accounting.
this is,
It's real money that's been paid and has to be paid, but it was
so this is above and beyond what we've already.
out of ARPA money.
Out of ARPA money,
Yeah.
okay, not.
Yes,
not
this
out-
is
not-
abo-
not
above
out
and
of
beyond
PS,
ARPA
not-
funds,
Yes.
not out of
yes.
PS,
Yeah, but
gotcha.
not like new, we didn't know it was
That's
coming.
what I'm.
Yeah.
There you go, yeah.
Right, yeah, these are no new
Yeah.
funds, but
Like,
the
we
ARPA
used
is already
money
been
for
done.
that originally, so that's
I'm
what
sorry?
we used ARPA money for that.
Yes.
Originally, so,
Yeah.
ARPA covered half of
half
it.
of that, yeah,
This is the last half.
last time, yes.
Yes, you are correct.
So basically, you're just requesting the two new line items
That
be
is correct.
created, and we need to vote on that.
That is correct.
I move we create those line items.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Councilman Chatton, seconded by Councilman Hillenbrand to create the two new line items for the creation of the Emergency Operations Center. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 6-0, pass. Got another one.
And they're done with their phase on the judicial center. And
Oh, I'm sorry, I was doing both of them at the same time. The other building that we're looking at, what we've done at this point in time, the only thing we've done is the, space studies needs. So we're looking at transferring $50,000 again from the same. We've already utilized all of ARPA for that. So this is again, at the request of the auditor's office for bookkeeping, to pay for those services.
Motion to create a, new account number under the public safety lit to cover the cost of $50,000 for the judicial center.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Hillenbrand, seconded by Councilman Chatton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
There's, hey, TJ,
Yes, sir.
you have the 1.5 million here.
Oh. Oh, come on up, just in case there's other questions. So this is CCMG, Community Crossing Grant, matching grant monies. We were awarded 1.5 million this year, which is the maximum amount that the state provided for that, for road paving. This is, we've just received those dollars in, so they've gone in, and now we're looking to pay the bills. And
Yes, that's correct.
and we have all the documentation if you need any numbers on that. But this is a wash as far as that goes, because we did just receive those dollars from the state in, so now we're looking to pay E&B, the paving company that's done. Although they're not done yet, there's still a few roads left to go. It started raining towards the end, and they had already planned to go to other areas. So we're looking to get them back here. Also in that, there are some other pieces that we're still looking at paving or micro paving and things of that nature. So those are still pending. But right now we have, how much do we have out for E&B?
So right now, E&B left on the contract is still just over 765,000 of the 2.2 plus that was bid for the CCMG paving project. So the 1.5 is the state grant, the CCMG grant, and that's just money that we got in that finally came in and was receipted, and we just wanna move it into the line item to cover their invoices. So far, we've only received one invoice from ENB. It was a little more than 1.4. And like TJ said, we're just now waiting for them to complete the paving project. They invoice us as they do the work.
Every time we talk CCMG, I always wanna make the point, thank your legislators. This money is huge for small communities like Knox County, Vincennes, all of us around. These smaller rural areas, we have become dependent upon this money, very, very much. As you guys know, the budget, we couldn't come to you for $1.5 million for paving. That just would be an ask that we know the answer would be. We're very, very fortunate to have this opportunity with the state. Of course, as you guys know, moving forward, what that looks like in the future. But right now, the way it's set up, we've been very fortunate the last several years. We've always gotten the match, the maximum amount for the match, which had been 1 million, now it's 1.5 million. So thank your legislators for keeping that as long as they have.
Yes,
Sorry.
and hopefully that'll, I know that they're making some changes to
Yes.
that, and so, but as long as they have that available, we have to apply. It goes such a long way
Sure.
for us to pay. Yep.
Is the auditor's office good with creating the line, getting it ready to go?
It's already existing.
It's already in process?
It is, it's been there for several years, so anytime that we get the grant, it goes to the same line item.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm more than happy to move that we'll take in $1.5 million into,
Every day, all day.
Since Councilman Chapman is so happy,
yeah,
there's number one.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Hillenbrand. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. No further comment. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, council.
Okay. Next up is the prosecutor's office. Questions, gentlemen?
I do, but I don't see a prosecutor here to be able to answer questions.
No. No.
He doesn't usually show up.
that is out of user fees, correct?
It's all, it's just moving money around.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
out of-
It's
out
not
of-
all
out of
user
his
fees.
yeah.
There is a general
The
for
link
part-time.
number 3, that's just from his prosecutor to the title 40, the 553. Karen O'Connor is working with the numbers now, that's what she's anticipating, that she'll be for the end of the year.
The others
Number 4, that
coming out of his user fee and then the grant, I'm assuming.
requested from the user fees and move it to those lines. And I think it's the same way, oh, then the other one is the high-tech crime unit that Karen works
So
with.
it's got 3,
She's just moving it up between lines.
And that's out of their grant deal for that, correct? Yeah.
The money's there, it's
Yeah,
And nothing out of the general fund.
on the,
Okay.
Is the 553?
I'm sorry, the 14,000 on number 5, that's in the high-tech 927, it's all the same fund. And then the other, no, the big money's coming out of user fees
correct,
to put in that general.
yeah.
Okay.
But is not the 553 coming from the general to a different,
That one is just going, a prosecutor's line item
right?
to the Title 4D line. That's just,
Out of unused part-time help.
yeah. I think they hired a new deputy prosecutor.
So they're using user fees to cover
Number,
her salary With the exception of $553.92.
That 553 is 4D money from the state.
For
It's
what?
not- It's 4D money. It's not ours. It can only be used for 4D services. My guess is that prosecutor at the time was doing some work for 4D that qualified, so.
So nothing. hit
Although
on-
Judge Gilmore may be able to answer that as the former 4D prosecutor for however long, so.
Tells the prosecutor's office what percentage certain things can be used towards that, and so that,
That would be my guess as to why that 553 is coming and switching.
So it's not just a general part-time helper in that office, it's actually specific to 4D?
I'm not sure about that.
To be paid out of 4D, the services have to be
Right.
specific to 4D.
Basically, the deputy prosecutor has to keep track of his or her time in order to use those funds.
So I'm,
So if it's for Mackenzie, Mackenzie might cover all of the courts, but if she is in court 8 hours a day and she spends 2 hours in child support hearings, then they can use that. They just have to track it in order to be kosher to the state.
yeah, and the state reviews that. I mean, they have their separate audit process.
Okay.
But I think they just didn't have enough funds in 120 to move it out of other lines, so that's why they had to take it from the 108.
Which 108 is also specific to 4D?
That's a prosecutor line, but he's in charge of the 42.
Mr. President, I'd move we approve 3, 4, and 5.
Motion's been made by Councilman Chatton to approve 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson Chrismore. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Is anybody aware of vacant positions? I've not heard of any to be filled. Any unfinished business?
There's 3 interlocals for the ordinance violation enforcement. They've all been circulating through the year. I forget what, there's 2 tonight, sorry, we did 1 last time, so. It's
Decker and Wheaton.
Yep, Decker and Wheaton, okay. And we're already processing OVs and unsafe buildings for them, so it's,
Do we need to take any further action on that this evening?
it has to have official signatures. All
Signatures.
interlocals require both commissioners and council, so.
Okay.
But you can group together in a vote.
All in favor of the interlocal agreements with Decker and Wheatland?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Yocum,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Reitmeyer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes 6-0. Any unfinished business? Announcement, council reports?
Don't really have not an official announcement. I would just really plead for everyone to drive careful around town right now. It is just crazy. Saturday morning at Kelso Creek, where my company is working, there was a bad wreck. They had to turn traffic around. Last night, a farmer drove through, knocked barriers out of the way, tore up a bunch of guardrail. Just before council started tonight, there was another big wreck out there. So please be careful. We're working there at Oaktown. We're gonna be working on 50 over Fort Knox, and there's also construction all through town. Everybody just be patient.
Yeah, and that accident before council was a vehicle striking a train as it was going through town.
Oh, really? Wow. That's why I had to go around Main Street.
Main Street.
Well,
Oh, okay.
but there was one that hit the guardrail out there on 41 as well too. It happened as I was coming past.
Oh,
So,
my
yeah.
gosh.
We have what's called a CZ unit, or an impact attenuator, at the ends of the barriers. I don't know how many times they've been hit now, and we have to call a subcontractor from Indianapolis to come down and replace them. Crazy.
And it's gonna be that way for a while. That's the scary part.
I think Willow Street right now at night is closed completely
Is it?
for their milling and
Pardon?
painting.
That's what we're doing. The 12th? Is that any further on council reports?
Yeah,
Anything?
Insurance Task Force met the other day. I wasn't able to attend that particular meeting, but there is a survey flying around through the employees, and it was emailed out, and some hard copies went out too, just to, asking, about the services or what they know, and, would they use a family plan if it was, just different things that's involved with that, so, and I think that's due back at the end of the month, Andrew?
Yes.
The end of the month, and so we're meeting again mid-August-ish or so, end of August, something like that, to kind of digest those and see what those are doing, so.
Very good program. Our benefits package
Yeah,
needs
our benefits is
to
amazing.
improve to maintain employees, so, our group's working on it. Hopefully we can get some, a little bit of resolution to, make it better for county employees. Jay, you have anything?
Not a damn thing.
Nothing heard?
Watermelon Festival's coming up,
When is it?
August 1st and 2nd.
August 1st and 2nd, Watermelon Festival. And
So, next week, yep. Moosins are picking a few, other than that, everybody else will be in next week. Yep.
Cantaloupes are coming off.
Cantaloupes are
Cantaloupes are
coming.
coming off, yep. Few of those
Lulu
left.
brought some up out of Georgia, I believe it was.
Yeah, Cantaloupes here picking now.
Yeah.
Even more reason to pay attention while you're driving around town.
Yes.
Because we're going to have
Yeah,
we're going to have a bunch of people, new to the area, and it's just gonna make it a little more, interesting.
The World Series is August 6th also.
What is?
The World Series,
Ah.
Cal Ripken. So
You're
there's
a
gonna be a
knowledge,
lot of
Dan.
people in town.
9 international
I could use a local
teams.
calendar.
Walking calendar.
Well, last time Cal Ripken had the big
Oh,
ones here, it was
It's a lot.
a fantastic event. It was
Yep.
very well put together, and tons of people came in to visit, so,
Kirk does a great job with it.
yeah, maybe John's guys can keep it out of the ditches and off the poles. Anybody have any further? Meeting is adjourned.
Good thing we got these phone booths, there's all kinds of counties I've been wanting to call.
There you go. You can
All
reach out-
92 of them now, you can crank.
You can reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, I can reach out.